My name is Gloria Violin, and I'm here to introduce you to my husband, Donald Violin, who is turning 90 in February 2023. He's had quite an interesting life. Why don't you tell him about it, Don?
I think I've been very lucky in some ways in my life, because as I look back, I realize how far I've come from being poor. Having a single mom who sent me to a boarding school when I was 8 years old because she had to work and couldn't take care of me. And later, having a mean stepdad. I needed to leave my circumstances, so I joined the Army in 1947 when I was 14 years old. Let's just say I fibbed about my age, and my mother signed the form which said I was 17. The Army taught me a lot. I was enlisted for 9 years. I was trained as a telephone man. The job was to change phones as required and repair them. I was sent to different locations, 2 years in Germany, 6 months in Paris, and then returned to the States. Went to school again and learned about more advanced communication equipment, after which I was sent to Korea for 18 months. Luckily, I was behind the lines of combat. After returning to the States in 1955, I was shipped to Frenchman's Flats in Nevada, about 70 miles north of Las Vegas, and was assigned to oversee a group that was responsible for providing news media communication for Operation Teapot, where the Army was testing 15 atomic bombs. Oftentimes the weather changed and the bomb was delayed for another day or so. On one occasion, my mom called me and said she was in Las Vegas and asked me to come down and see her. I said, we've often had delays when they're testing the bombs, so all right, I'll meet you. We were having a conversation sitting in a car in a parking lot facing north, and all of a sudden the whole sky lit up, and we could even hear the bomb, and I thought, uh-oh, I am in deep doo-doo. My team did well, and apparently nobody noticed that I wasn't there. A year later, my enlistment ended, and I decided to leave the Army and went home to Los Angeles. Well, again, I think I was lucky because of the Army's training. I got a job at Pacific Telephone Company as a craftsman, installing telephone lines in a telephone office, a building very similar to the old telephone building on 4th Street in San Rafael. After a few months, I took a test, and again, because of my training in the Army, I was advanced to the highest craft level. After a couple of years, I was promoted to manager in traffic engineering. I worked for Pacific Telephone and AT&T for 33 years. During my early work years, I was a single dad with 2 young boys, 3 and 4.5. So I empathize with single parents working all day and coming home to take care of your children at night is a lot. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. I was attracted to hiking after I retired and joined the Tamalpais Conservation Club to improve mountain trails, rebuild bridges, and other mountain work on Mount Tamalpais. In that organization, I was on the board as membership chair. I also became a hike leader. Did that for a number of years. On October 10th, 1995, I went to a dance in Berkeley where they were teaching tango, and my eyes fell upon a pretty young lady. Gloria was there. We have been together ever since that day. It has been and still is a wonderful experience. After the tango class, which was on a Tuesday night, I walked her to a car and she said, "I thought you were going to invite me to hike on Mount Tam." I said, "Oh yes, yes. How about hiking this Saturday?" So that was our first date. I had to tell her, though, that I had an obligation I'd earlier signed up for. I had committed to spend 3 weeks as a volunteer for the Israeli Army. I went with a buddy of mine and his daughter. Our job was to clean mess halls, latrines, and guns, and otherwise support soldiers. We felt good about that and felt we were very much appreciated. For each of the 3 weeks, we worked only for half a week, and the other half we traveled throughout Israel. But every day I called Gloria, even though I had to wait a long time in line for my turn to use the phone. She also had put cards with notes on them in my suitcase. Each envelope had a date on it indicating when I could open it, so I had a card from her every day for the 3 weeks while I was gone. When I returned, Gloria and I kept our relationship going. October 10th is an important day for us. We met on October 10th. We got engaged 3 years later on October 10th. And we married the following year on October 10th. We kept it nice and simple. We are now married 22 years. On October 10th of this year, it'll be 23 years. Can't beat that. About a year after we married, I learned about Rotary. A buddy of mine was a Ross Valley Rotarian, and he knew Cliff McGarr, who was a Rotary of San Rafael member and a past 5150 district governor. Cliff, some of you know, was DG when the district went all the way to the Oregon state line. He was concerned because initially he felt at the age of 67 I was too old to join Rotary. After I told him about my past, he said, "Okay, I'll support you." I served in a number of capacities. Initially, I served as the membership chair for a couple of years, secretary for 3 years, and as president in 2011-2012. Same time Dean was president, the second time around. In the meantime, we moved to Novato, and Gloria joined the Novato Rotary Club. I had already joined the Novato Veterans of Foreign Wars in '05 and was the commander in 2012. Joined the Druids in '06 and was a Noble Arch in 2013. I'm also a member of the Men's Friday Breakfast Club in Novato. Being as I knew a number of the local Rotarians and I wanted to do my community service in Novato, I transferred to the Rotary Club of Novato in January 2017. I'd like to share my most memorable moments with Rotary. One memory is meeting Rotarians in Eastern Europe in Sarajevo, Budapest, and Brasov. We enjoyed meeting the Rotarians of each town. They treated us so well. The most rewarding moment was when we went to India and gave polio vaccine drops through a little dropper to children under 5 years old. We spent a day walking through a village with health workers. We couldn't speak Hindi. They couldn't speak English, but we related so well. It was such a wonderful feeling knowing that these children were being protected and we helped do it. As you know, polio has been eradicated in India. When Gloria and I got back, we took our PowerPoint around to about half the clubs in our district to talk about our trip and encourage others to help fight polio. I've always been attracted to volunteering. I enjoy helping others. I enjoy people and try to always participate in activities. Thank you for this opportunity to share my story with you.
Thanks, honey. I learn more about you every time I hear you tell your story, and I hope to learn even more over the next 23 years. Thank you for joining us today.